This week, Dr. Stone's creator Boichi released the second chapter of the Ace spin-off manga, something that we've all been waiting for quite a while. Initially, upon reading this chapter, I didn't think I'd have a ton to say about it because unlike the first chapter, most of the events that he covers in this chapter are things that we've already seen Oda present in the manga. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized there's actually a lot to break down here. So let's talk about it. For one, it's very interesting to see how the author can use Oda's pre-created characters to create exciting moments with absolutely no dialogue. When Oda introduces something new in the manga, for instance, the introduction of Kaido, it was preceded by quite a bit of words. While it's generally an agreed rule that show not tell is the best way of storytelling, Oda is able to blend both words and images to create very, very dramatic moments. But because of the characters being already established in Oda's world, Boichi here is able to create dramatic moments just by having us see these amazing characters drawn in his fantastic art style. And we really don't need any context, we don't need any foreshadowing, because we already know who they are. So when they show up on the scene, they come with a certain gravitas that an original character would have a hard time presenting. It's also interesting to talk about the great difference between the way Oda tells a story and the way that Boichi tells a story. If you haven't had a chance to look at Dr. Stone, I highly recommend it. It's probably my second favorite series in Shonen Jump right now after One Piece, obviously. But his rapid-fire storytelling is very different from the way Oda tells a story. Of course, Oda is not slow. There are a lot of storytellers in manga and anime that go through the story at a rather plodding pace, but Oda does move fast. He does like to move his plot along, but the way Boichi moves his stories is at breakneck speeds. So at first when I was reading the Ace manga, I was thinking, oh, he's trying to get done this fast, because obviously this isn't, his story. This isn't his job. His job is his story that he's telling in Shonen Jump. But honestly, if you've ever read Dr. Stone, you know that he never has a chapter where it doesn't feel like the characters have taken 100 steps forward from where they were in the previous chapter. And honestly, it would be very exciting to see what would happen if Oda and Boichi sat down and actually created a story together. Because I think both of them are fantastic storytellers, and although some might disagree about Oda's artwork, I think they're both fantastic artists, very capable of putting together a scene that really makes you go, wow. Although, after reading this chapter, I can see how both of them might be met with the same ridicule about the way they draw women, as Boichi's female characters seem to look exactly like the ones that we see in Dr. Stone. Like, for instance, this girl here, not even a lower part to her torso. It's just... Anyway, enough about that. I also think it's hilarious how he started off this chapter with a cover story in true Oda fashion, showing the adventures of Luffy, which are happening off screen here. And as I mentioned before, I really do like Oda's art. I really feel like he does put a lot of love into it. But seeing his characters recreated by someone with this kind of skill is truly amazing. And I'm really excited when we get to see things like the Sanji stories that were created by the cooking manga artist, and these stories created by Boichi, and I'd really love to see some other artists do the same. Can you imagine someone like Murata from One Punch Man redrawing a One Piece story? Whew. I know it's a strange side note, but it's very interesting to see that the characters that Oda seems to focus on when he occasionally shows Ace's crew seem to be the ones that aren't being focused on here at all. Boichi seems to really like the creatively named Skull character. I mean, why wouldn't he? It's a pretty cool looking character. It's a shame Oda doesn't draw him more. I really do like the redesign of that character that Boichi has given us. It's very neat looking. As a quick recap, those who have not gotten the chance to actually read this story, the story follows Ace after he's entered the Grand Line and has begun to make a name for himself. He gets to meet up with several very exciting figures, such as Shanks. We get to see his battle directly against Jinbei. And interestingly, Deuce gets to meet Silver's Raleigh, which of course Ace has no interest in meeting. Although I am curious, I kind of wish we could have seen what would happen if Ace had met Silver's Raleigh. Imagine the kinds of things that Ace may have said or done, or the things that Raleigh might have said. I mean, after all, this is the son of his best friend. Would he have wanted to pass something on to Ace? Would Ace have accepted it? It's a very curious thing to contemplate. And then the chapter concludes after Jinbei's battle with Ace finally facing off against Whitebeard, something he's been wanting to do the entire chapter. Of course, as we know from reading the manga or watching the anime, Ace got absolutely demolished, as did his crew, and they were absorbed by the Whitebeard pirates. After which, Ace gets a direct conversation with James Earl Jones. The first Ace chapter seemed like Boichi was just doing this for fun, maybe a one-off thing. But after reading this one, it really does seem like he intends on continuing this for at least one more chapter, which is kind of exciting. Imagine if we get to see someone like Yamato drawn in this style. I know I, for one, am very excited. I'd like to see his visit to Wano, and perhaps even his take on what Kaido would look like. After all, I think Kaido is one of Oda's strongest designs when it comes to character creation. So I'd really like to see how Boichi presents someone who's already this epic looking in his style. One other thing I wanted to talk about is I think Boichi does a really good job of characterizing Ace, along with what we already know about him. It is interesting to see how Ace never had the chance to grow as a character the way that Luffy did. At a certain point during the story, Luffy is confronted with the fact that despite all his bravado and energy and excitement, he is not capable of accomplishing his dreams without changing the way he acts and the way he thinks. However, Ace never has that opportunity. Up until the point where he meets Whitebeard, he is never actually forced into a dangerous position where he would lose his crew, where he would lose his family, where he would lose something important. The only thing he ever risked was his life, and even then, once he faced against Whitebeard, someone he could not fight, Whitebeard wanted to keep him around because Whitebeard wanted to make Roger's son the next pirate king. So I think that we get to see through Boichi's storytelling how Ace became the kind of person who would end up losing his life for almost no reason in the Battle of Marineford. And I think that is probably one of the strongest elements of this chapter, the way that Boichi handled that so well. He really helps you see Ace's psychology behind that and how flawed his reasoning is, even though he presents it in a very cool manner with his lines to his first mate, whose name is ridiculous once again, Deuce, asking him to trust him. But still, like I said, I think it's a really fantastic presentation of the character. I think he handled not only the art, which of course I've gushed about enough, but the storytelling as well. I have a lot of confidence in his ability to tell the story, and I cannot wait until the next chapter begins.
Thanks for watching this video. For those of you who are interested in our cooking videos, we already have one cooking for ya. Get it? As far as any news concerning the live action show for One Piece, there hasn't been a lot of news to talk about. But as soon as we hear anything, we will continue to make videos about the live action One Piece as well. We just have to have news to talk about first. So yeah, cooking videos coming up, other videos coming up. If it's One Piece related, we're gonna do it. Stay tuned. And don't forget to join our Discord. We keep forgetting to plug that. But ever since we got 100 subscribers, we promised we were going to get a Discord, so that is what we have done. So that will be in the description. That is all.
Yo!
Geigo! Hey there!
Don't leave without subbing.
Hey there!
Don't leave without liking.
Hey there!
Don't forget to comment. Hit the bell, hit the bell, hit the bell.